Time for an update. Well, this is the front basically complete. I've just finished modifying the grille, believe it or not. I did not like the proportions of the grille when I had finished with it. And by the time I added the tray and the bumper bar, it looked too tall. So what I've done is I've raised the slots back up to the stock height. I'd made them 2 inches longer so I can fit the radiator behind. So what I've done now is I've raised the slots back to stock height. They're still 9 inches wider, the grille overall, and then raise the tray in front of it 3/4 of an inch. So I've got a greater depth between the bottom of the slots and the tray than before, and I just think it's more balanced. So what I've ended up with is the stock height from the top of the slots to the top of the grille is twice that as from there to the top of the tray. Now on the pointy nose, which is the grey and black one, which is the 58, which some of the body and frame comes from as well, or mainly the body, there's a shorter distance here. The tray sits up almost underneath here, so you don't get much distance between the bottom of the slots and the top of the tray. On the flat nose 48, which has got the 10 slots versus the 8 slots, now I've also got 10 slots, the tray sits flush at the bottom, so it doesn't sit in front, and that has got double the distance at the top to the bottom. So I've emulated the 48 but with a profile in as far as being a pointy nose of the later 58 models. So this style in the trucks was from 47 to 1950, halfway through it, and then from 1950 to 1965 they were in this shape. The position of the bars and the amount of bars were changed. They've had anything from 3 either like this, which is the majority of the years. 56 had it up higher, and from 50.5 to 53 there was an extra 2 in there. So it gives you a bit of an idea. Here's some of the other grilles. They're all different proportions. Someone's come because they've heard my voice. Alright, so I've also put things like the stainless steel fasteners on the hinges, because I'm hoping this is final assembly for the test run, or for maybe the first summer season I'll run without paint. That's the idea at the moment. I've also things like the fasteners inside the holding the guards on, they're all stainless steel button heads. The bumper bar I still have to do some work on. There's all this sort of pitting and everything. I have to fix up the back of this, because this is actually off a wagon. That's why it says Willys, because the front trucks and wagons did not have the Willys on the front, only the rear of the wagons. So I've used a rear bumper bar on the front, and they had a corner piece that fitted over the top of this and went around the side. The back, I don't know if it'll show up, is in pretty bad condition, so it's going to need a lot of work before it goes to the chromers. The rest of the work has been done under the bonnet. Let's see if I can do this one-handed, no idea. So the only way to get under the bonnet now is to pop it like that. I've got mesh in here now. It's all aluminium expanded mesh, because it just finishes that off a little bit nicer. You can see that I've followed the angle of the grille so leaves and rubbish can't fall in between and gather there. So the other thing I've made, let's see if I can do this, is this hood prop. So it fits out from here and then slots into there. So I detest bonnets that don't sit up high enough and then pinch your back while you're working on them. So I want it as high as practical to make it easy to work. I've also got the option of flipping the bonnet all the way back against the screen if I'm doing some major work. The biggest thing under here is that I planned this 5 years ago. I bought these original generation HEMI covers, and I've turned them into coil covers. So it was a fair bit of work to fit them. I had to move this whole bar out just to get underneath here, and these are just a cover. I can put my hands under here, so the heat build-up is not a problem at all. The injectors sit here, and so from here all the way down to the manifold, which is about 1.5 to 2 inches, is all open airspace, so there's not going to be a heat build-up. You can probably just make it out closely so they don't sit against the engine. They just I want some tie back to the to the 50s and this body style in the engine, and it just hides all the coils, the injectors, and all the wiring. And I've just welded some tabs in that go under the fuel rail bolts at the bottom, and maybe it's easier to see on this side. It's a bit hard to see, but I've added extra pockets of this, and then picked up 3 of the 5.7 HEMI cover bolts to hold the bottom of the covers in place. So that basically brings you up to date at the moment. Certainly getting some progress. So the next thing to work on will be finishing off the bumper ready for chroming, because I think I'll get that re-chromed before I eventually get this on the road, which I have no idea at this stage, but a lot of work still to do, a whole tray to build. So thanks for tuning in.